we are live, and the doors of the Sanctum have been unlocked and open for the week. Welcome, everyone, back to the Sanctum Sanctorum. I am your illustrious host, Widow's Son, and with me are two of my awesome co-hosts, Dr. Cyrus Oblivion and the Wanderer. I haven't heard from Stu Dog, so if he pops in here in just a little while, that would be great. Also, sent the links out to a few others that we enjoy having on. Because today we're gonna delve into another topic. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the whole Rev and Shanny thing, and from a TOS perspective, and we are always grateful to our resident YouTube expert, Sir Stu Dog. So if you need information about YouTube, please go and subscribe to Stu Dog's channel. Wanderer, can you put links to the channels up in the side chat for everybody?
All right, I'll get on that now.
So yes, go and subscribe to Stu Dog for all of your YouTube information needs. He is a gentleman and a scholar, and he is a blessing to have as part of our show here. And hopefully he will be joining us soon. But today, what we're going to be doing the music review, and of course, we'll lighten the mood after the topic of today. Today, what we're going to be talking about is separation of the art and the artist. Recently, this kind of just popped into my mind. Miss Vac is here. Hello. Glad to see you here. Once again, today, what we're going to be talking about is the separation of art from the artist. And there are a lot of examples of this. I think one more recently that a lot of people would actually be more that would remember. I mean, I'm sure that going back further, people remember certain ones, but the most recent one I can point out would be Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into that in just a little bit. So everyone strap in, and I've sent the link out to Miss Burnt Toast. I also sent it out to Bran. Hope maybe he can join us. And of course, I sent it to Frank as well. And we'll go ahead and we'll shout out our boys over at the Geek Room. We love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to us. Frank, Bran, and yes, even you, Billy. We love Billy in our own way here. So hashtag fire Billy. But anyway, go ahead and subscribe over to the boys at the Geek Room. Show them some love. Get that hit that subscription button and get the notification bell on. And also big shout out to my YouTube mentor, Sir Hatman. I've sent the link to him as well, but he is busy today. I'm sure he'll be lurking in the shadows somewhere. So but it's always a joy to speak to him when he gets the opportunity to come on. So definitely go and also subscribe to my YouTube mentor, Hatman, and show all these guys some love, because they are a bunch of great guys and great YouTube creators. So yeah, guys, how are y'all today, man? How's the week been, as it were?
You go ahead, Wanderer.
All right.
I thought Wanderer was actually about to give my typical answer, which is strikes and gutters, ups and downs. So
pretty much. I mean, it definitely has had its ups and downs. I mean, yesterday I got a fucking bass after so long.
I saw that, dude. I saw that. I was actually, when I read that on Discord and on Twitter, man, I was so stoked. I'm like, wow, he finally did it. He's listened to enough Peter Steele that he's just actually had to go and get one. And I'm sure that some typo is probably the first stuff you're learning.
Well, I've written like kind of my own riff that me and a friend of mine are actually going to kind of work together to create a song with, and possibly use that to start a band. And
nice.
On top of that, I've learned a Remo Drive riff. And apart from that, not much else. I've kind of just been perfecting the Remo Drive one. For those interested, it was the song "Erase Me" from the Wait for the Sun EP, which is now kind of fucking gone. And yeah, I'm based in Red Pill now. But yeah, dude, I'm so fucking stoked. I've got no money now. I've got about 40 pence in my fucking bank account, but
you drained your bank account to buy that thing.
I did.
Man, come on, man.
It was.
I mean, dude, I'm super pumped for you. I really am. But dude, I couldn't drain my bank account to buy just one thing, man. I couldn't. I mean,
Well, technically it was two.
unless it was something, like really important, like something like for my cats or the car or something like that. But and I mean, I'm not like putting you down at all. I'm
Yeah,
just saying
yeah, no.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to get that bass. Like I'd seen it before in the shop, and I really wanted it. And my plan was I was going to get it shipped out to my house, like just sent through like a van or something. But then,
Dude,
I was like, oh, it costs even more.
You should get a sticker made of your logo and put that on it.
That sounds actually like a really cool idea, but I don't know if I'd go through with it because the material is made out of it's kind of like a damaged kind of black look. I'll have to send you a close up of the material, but
I think you. Well, I mean, you sent me some pictures of it because I saw that you had got it, and I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, man, you should like your avatar for the show. You should put that on there. That would look sick.
I'll put it on like the very top of the neck or something, like over where you mark the frets, those little dots. That'd be epic.
Oh man, yeah, but that would be expensive as shit to get done.
It actually would, yeah.
I mean, I've seen. I would get. Doc, what's the name of that instrument catalog over here in the U.S. you could send away for, and it was free, or you could subscribe to it every month for free, and they would send it to you. Was it musician? Yeah, Musician's Friend.
Yeah, that's owned by Guitar Center now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so basically, if you get one, you're really getting both.
And they would have like signature guitars. I remember seeing a Kurt Hammett signature. It was the Les Paul style that had the skull spider and everything on it. I had a friend of mine who actually had one of those.
Now, some of those signature models were actually really good to get because it had the exact specs that were set up to that specific artist, like Yngwie Malmsteen's. His was set just like him, and the reason why he liked it is if he broke a guitar or was out of a guitar and he needed one, he could just pop into any Guitar Center that carried his signature model and take it off the wall and go play it live. It was already set up for him.
Fellas, I gotta go get my my dinner. I'll be back in like 20 seconds. Well, don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that.
I was gonna say we'll see him. Don't count. It's pointless.
That's what she said.
You're an asshole. So how's your week been, brother?
Mine's been pretty good. Finally got the estimate from the place that's supposed to repair my car, and they are going to repair it. So they did not total my car out.
At no cost to you?
Well, I have to pay, the deductible, which is $500.
Well, yeah. I was about to say that's $500, but I'm talking about anything as far as the repairs go.
No, just $500.
That's good. See, you came out on top.
Oh, totally. Because
I told you that you would, man.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how you described it to me, like there's no way that they're going to deem this your fault. There's no way. Even if there was a sudden stop in front of you and you had no choice, and then the person in front of you, I mean, it's inevitable.
Well, Tennessee is one of those. It's a fault. It's an at-fault state. So even if some douchebag decides to use the interstate as his parking lot and cause basically a chain reaction, the state is like, if you rear end somebody, it is your fault for rear-ending them.
And see, I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Now, the insurance company, they are allowed to either keep your costs the same, or they can do it with that info, whatever they want. The insurance company is fine on that, but they were like, oh, the fact that the guy, they said it mitigated my responsibility because the fact that some guy 2 cars in front of me on a wet road decided to use the interstate for his parking lot. And
So-
realistically, that right there should be illegal. I mean, that should be
yeah.
that it's like, oh wait, you didn't have a reason to stop. Because if he had to stop, there was enough shoulder for him to pull onto.
Well, I mean, I mean, to be honest with you, what it sounds like they're doing is they're giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Oh yeah, dude, because I've had a stellar record.
Right. I mean, a good driving record, and because this was clearly some other assholes doing, I think they're giving you and the other I'm sure they're giving the other person the benefit of the doubt as well.
Yeah, the other person was able to stop, but like I couldn't. It was like, whoa! I mean, like before I saw the tail end of that. I think it was the Hummer just getting too close.
Did you just say that you were on the tail end of a Hummer?
I said I saw the tail end of a Hummer. But that doesn't make it sound any better.
No, it doesn't. I mean, yeah, you just suddenly blurting out that you were on the tail end of a Hummer. I mean, like, dude, I don't need to know that. Okay. I mean, what you do in your car when you're flying down the interstate in Tennessee somewhere is your business. So, I mean, I'm no judgment. I just don't need to know about it.
No.
Nor does our audience. I mean, they're all good, clean, moral people. I mean,
bunch of fine Christian people who would never use a dirty word.
What the fuck are you talking about?
All right, dipshit.
And see, Wanderer told us not to quote him, but I'm just going to go ahead and point out that it's been more than 20 seconds. It's been probably more than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So we will make sure that we hold his feet to the fire for this.
Well,
so this week, and real quick, we're gonna do our favorite segment here. What's in Doc's hat?
Oh.
And this week, what's in Doc's hat is Wanderer's improper calling of time. So this week, Wanderer's improper calling of time is in Doc's hat. Thank you.
Yeah, so what's really funny, man, or not funny, but probably more interesting is
wow. To say that anything that Wanderer does is not interesting, come on, that's rude. That's fucking rude.
He's eating his burger. He just put that in the comments.
I see.
You should put that up there for us all to remember so we never forget. There we go.
Yeah.
So you remember where we grew up, like how if you said a curse word, if you stubbed your toe and went damn, or went started, people would kind of freak out about it. But as I've gotten older and gotten into other areas, one thing I really do have to say that I do like is in a lot of my circles, because I'm still a Christian, still go to church, but I'm much more relaxed in my practices now. I think part of it's just having converted to the Orthodox Church, and they're very relaxed there. But
we can. I agree with that for the most part.
Yeah, but one thing I do have to say.
No. I don't mean that disrespectfully.
Yeah. You remember how tight I was.
No. Well, no. I'm talking about how relaxed they are.
Yeah.
I can agree yet disagree with that statement.
Yeah, it depends on which group you go to. But one thing I'd have to say is, like, generally, like,
no. I'm talking going back to a previous discussion that you and I had several years ago.
Oh gosh.
Because remember I came to the service one day, and enjoyed it immensely. And when I expressed my interest in it, I was made aware that I could not join or I could not convert because of being a member of my fraternity, which I don't think I do not agree with that.
See, and I still don't get it either. I mean, because every time I've asked a priest or somebody about it, I either don't get an answer or I don't get a straight answer. It's kind of like there are other questions I've asked priests, and they just simply will not respond to it. And
Well,
I'm like, well, if you're not going to respond to it, then
well,
what's the point of asking it?
here's an idea. Can you not reach out to like some of the higher ups?
Oh yeah. There's actually a Facebook group I'm going to start posing those questions to. But the problem I have with internet orthodoxy is that's where you get some of the more extreme douchey people commenting on stuff. Like I actually was kicked out of a group because there is this very legalistic elder named Elder Ephraim, and he has a monastery that he founded in Arizona. He's now dead.
Yes.
But a lot of people have fallen under his influence. A lot of churches, a lot of priests, especially in the Chicago area, are under his influence. So whenever I find out there's a Greek Orthodox priest from Chicago, I immediately get suspicious because I'm like, does this guy fall under his influence? And kind of my litmus test is, what are your thoughts on Elder Ephraim? And the difference is, like, I can tell if you're someone I want to be around or not in the Orthodox Church, if your answer is like, oh, he's a douche. If it's anything but that, then I don't want to be around you, because he has caused a lot of problems. And one of the and there's just not enough time to go into that. But when he died, I commented and celebrated on a Orthodox Christian forum and put, "Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead." And people got pissed at me about it. Like, they were deleting my comments. They're like, this guy's going to be canonized as a saint. And I was like, then I will leave the church at that point, you know? Because, I mean, he's the type of person, he has counseled married men to leave their families and join his monastery, which is not cool. Like, that is something that is not allowed. Anytime that they've had other cases where married men wanted to become monks, they've said, no, you can't become a monk. You have made a commitment to your family. You took those vows, and you are now, they said, that's part of the holy orders. They said, you cannot be a monk right now. Take care of your family. Well, this monk has totally did the exact opposite. And at another point, they had probably the most controversial thing. And there's actually an entire group of actual Greek Orthodox Christians who are totally opposed to him, and you can find their group online. But one of the things that Elder Ephraim did is they had this kid who had serious mental health issues. He wanted to become a monk. He goes to the monastery. Now, keep in mind, if you're a holy elder, you're supposed to have really good discernment, like divinely inspired discernment. He did not. So therefore, he was not that holy, nor was he an elder to me. I'm just calling him Elder Ephraim because that's what everybody calls him. But his kid comes on, and he was a young man, like right at the cusp between teenager and adult. And he had some serious mental health issues, and they told him to stop taking his meds at the monastery. He becomes too much to handle, so they sent him back home. And his own priest and his own mother and father were telling him, do not go to this monastery. And he came back just all sorts of messed up. And then he drives all the way back to that monastery and shoots himself on their property. And Elder Ephraim denies any responsibility in that. And I'm like, no, you asshole. You're the reason why he killed himself. And for me, and there was no public apology for that. There was no taking responsibility. And so realistically, anybody who defends that guy, I just want to punch him in the face. Like, I absolutely...
In Minecraft.
What? In Minecraft, yeah. I absolutely hate anybody who supports Elder Ephraim. And I absolutely hate any church or monastery that does that. And there are numerous other stories. And I will flat out, I mean, it's one of those things people are like, like, if you challenge a priest on it, a lot of people have this kind of this almost fundamentalist view where they're like, you can't challenge authority. And I'm like, screw that. It's like, I was a fundamentalist before, and you know how much bullshit fundamentalism put you under. You saw what it did to me. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so much more relaxed in my own faith. And I have no problem cursing now, but and amongst other things, because it's just like fundamentalism just beats the shit out of you. And when I became Orthodox, I left my fundamentalism at the door, and I've been constantly trying to purge it. But then we've got these fucking assholes coming into the church, and they're trying to make us all become more fundamentalist. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, and I will not submit to that authority. And that pisses some of those people off, but a lot of them get pissed off because I'm not going to submit to their narcissism and megalomania.
I get that.
I'm sorry for the rant, y'all, but oh yeah, dude, you're totally right. I mean, there will come a time where you've got, because like realistically, when you look at it, there are even like splinter sects and cults that start up as a result of this stuff. And one of the things that just winds up happening is you just get this total brainwash control. Like one of the things that, and I think it's safe to say that I consider the Ephraimites a cult within Eastern Orthodoxy. Because a lot of the people that it attracts already struggle enough with mental health issues where they have some type of neuroticism that just goes off the trails. So yeah, they wind up they wind up all like becoming very susceptible to something that could wind up becoming like a Heaven's Gate or a Jonestown.
Actually, that will be. Let's save that because we'll definitely do an episode about that.
Yeah.
About that kind of grouping and mentality. Greetings, Lucifer.
Funny thing about the name Lucifer. So back before I became Orthodox, I was visiting attending a Baptist college or a Baptist church in college, but they were pretty laid back and pretty cool. My friend, our good friend Thomas, he introduces himself. He visited with me one time, and he introduced himself as Lucifer.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
And dude, it was so funny because like one guy, like most people caught on and they were kind of laughing about him, but one guy was like, "Really, dude? That's your name? That is so awesome. Good to meet you, Lucifer." And he totally didn't catch what he had said.
I would have done the same thing. Honestly, I would have. It would have been too good of an opportunity to pass up.
Oh, I didn't. I don't. You know me well enough to know I don't stop people when they do that.
I know.
I'm like, let's just roll with this and see what happens.
Well, Wanderer, we're waiting for you.
Yeah, because we got to get on our awesome topic.
I can see him shoving French fries in his face right now. All right.
I suppose that was perfect timing on my half because we've just been talking about me coming back on the stream.
Well, it's about time. Your lunch break.
Time, Sonny.
Your lunch break was over 2 minutes ago.
I feel really bad because I forgot to order my brother chicken nuggets, and I feel fat because I had 2 burgers.
I was about to say, you didn't try to Rochambeau your younger brother for his chicken nuggets, did you?
Rochambeau the entire guitar shop for my money back.
Be like, let's play Rochambeau for that bass over there. If I win, then I get it for free. I'll go first. I win.
Get a Rochambeau. Somebody, I don't know, wants to step up against the ball assassin, dude.
Right.
I always have to go first, though. That's the catch. I always got to go first.
Exactly. That's why you always say, "I'll Rochambeau you for it. I'll go first," and then you. We gotta quit bringing up Rochambeau. We gotta quit bringing up Rochambeau.
All right. Do you want me to
making your balls twitch?
On our...
Doc, go ahead and let's let's get on our subject matter for this episode. If you haven't already, real quick, go ahead, hit the like or hit the thumbs up for us, like the stream. That really helps us out. If you can, share the stream as well. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, get the notification bell on for us. It really helps us out. And we appreciate everyone's support. It means the world to us. If you know anyone who would enjoy the show and the channels, please send them a link to the channel and tell them to subscribe and come and join us. So, Doc, if you will, go ahead and let's get started.
All right. So today, but due to our topic matter, we need to just go ahead and say that whatever we discuss, we do not necessarily agree with nor condone the actions of those we discuss. And it may be possible at some point that one or more of us will be taking a devil's advocate position, and that does not necessarily reflect those of the show or of our own selves.
All right. Well, now we are not going now, and I will also go ahead and add an amendment to that. We are not going to be giving any type of graphic detail about anything that took place. We will just simply be giving a synopsis of what happened, and we will leave it at that. Certain words will not be used. Abbreviations will be. So let's make sure that we also get that out there as well. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about separation of art from the artist. Because in the media throughout the decades of entertainment, especially it's been a lot more prevalent. Because mostly what I pay attention to is like music. And movies here and there, stuff like that. But I've noticed, and a lot of this has a lot of really strange and fucked up things have happened with musicians throughout the decades. There are just multiple examples, and we're going to get into some of those. We're going to get into some of those, and we're going to touch on a few high profile as well. And not just not just music. It's all forms of art, because when you start getting into Hollywood, that's some of the stuff that I looked up this week, and that's where the lines get really blurry. Well, yes, that's true, but even if there is a blurry line, to a certain extent, it still falls in. They all fall into the same category, and I'm talking about the people. I'm not talking about necessarily like whether they're in the music industry or the film industry. But I've seen it. Like I said, I pay more attention to music and stuff, and movies here and there if I'm really interested in seeing it. But it's just mostly music. And one, an example that I brought up when we went on the air is the whole Marilyn Manson situation. Now, as everyone knows, allegations of sexual assault and everything by Marilyn Manson to several different women, and that have come forward and everything like that has, that when that happened, of course, it, headlines everywhere. Now, my position on this, I'll go ahead and say that I am a big Marilyn Manson fan. I have been since I was about 17. I love the man's music, his art that he puts out. I still listen to him. His biography was incredible. It's a great read. I've read it several times over the years. But his action, I can't speculate on whether or not he did this. Because I mean we have, and I'm not making light of the women who have come forward. I'm not. What I'm saying is that um, I'm trying to think how to say this.
I think I could possibly put it in the words for you.
Okay.
So I think what you're trying to say is, obviously, like you've just stated, you are a big Marilyn Manson fan, and
Yes. I
you're
mean,
quite
like
a
I
big
said.
fan of like his music and his discography and things like that. And when you heard about this stuff, uh, it was kind of hard for you to take, because obviously being a big fan of somebody like that, and then hearing they've done something, is quite hard to take. And I suppose it also comes with a bit of denial. Like everybody has that piece of denial in them that's like, oh no, they couldn't have done this, you know? And I'm sure you probably felt that way. And honestly, I don't know enough about the allegations to say they're true or not. And I think that's kind of what you're trying to hint at.
Yeah,
Well,
that is certainly the point. And see, that's like, if he in fact did this, then I mean, yes, he should have to answer for it. Now, does that mean that I'm going to stop listening to his music or anything else like that? No. Um, I do not agree with, if he did this. Like I said, I mean, even seeing it in the media and all of this, you know, I'm still kind of formulating everything. So I mean, the skeptical side of me is just like, well, did he do this? I mean, or what if this is, yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
think
not
it's natural to have like a kind of
a little
disbelief or
a little
denial.
bit of, right. Well, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I would call it more skepticism than denial, really.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, he puts out a new record I like. Will I buy it? Yes. He goes on tour and I can actually catch him somewhere. Sure. Would I sit down and have a drink with him and have a conversation? Absolutely. Um,
see, for
you know,
me,
I
the,
Go
for,
ahead. Go ahead.
for me, there has to be limits to separating the artist from the art. Like if the artist holds an opinion on something that you disagree with, like a political opinion, that's one thing. But
Well, then I have, and sorry to interrupt, Doc. I'm sorry, but then if you're talking about a political opinion, then I have to bring up Ted Nugent.
yeah,
I love the Nuge. I do. His music is amazing. I mean, because I mean, you can't mention the name Ted Nugent um, and not mention what an amazing guitar player he is. His early music is his, like the Stranglehold and the Free for All record are absolutely amazing. I love them. They're great records. And you had songs like Wango Tango and Cat Scratch Fever and just and other amazing songs. But when he opens his mouth, you don't really, you're just like, just stop and just play music.
see,
Music.
but there's some things he should open his mouth on that I agree with him on 100% on, and that is things like gun rights. He is a huge gun rights advocate. He is a huge hunter, and he is also a deputy sheriff as well up in Michigan. And so one of the things that, like, when we talk about Ted Nugent, like, he was right. He's been right about every single school shooting that's happened. He's been right about all of these gun rights issues, all of that. Like, so I have to agree with him and support him on that. Now, there are some things that he said that I'm like, dude, you're not helping the cause any. Like when he said Obama, he's got when Obama had just gotten elected, and they were talking about gun control, and he said, well, I've got a gun barrel Obama can suck on. I thought that was crossing the line, going way over it. And then, but I'm going, but the same people who are raising a stink about this didn't even bat an eye when Rage Against the Machine said the Bush administration should be tried, hung, and shot. The arguments that they were making to silence Ted Nugent could have easily been made to silence Rage Against the Machine. And the ones excusing rage could have easily been made about Ted Nugent. But the problem is they politically are aligned more with rage than they were with Ted Nugent. And so therefore, okay, we got to silence this dissenting opinion, but we have to allow this other opinion that we agree with because we determine that these guys are right. And my big problem with this whole thing that people have is typically if someone is more conservative in their politics or more libertarian leaning in anything, people on the left, especially in the media and other aspects, they want to silence the person. It's like, we've got to get this person to shut up. But then, if the person is on the left and they say something that is equally abhorrent or equally a valid political opinion, suddenly, we've got to allow this person to speak. You can't silence this person. And it's just kind of like the hypocrisy that people have, and the inconsistency is the thing that pisses me off the most.
Right. Okay. So let's step back to what we were talking about with the whole Marilyn Manson situation. I was just bringing the Nuge up because you had mentioned the political opinion. Now, like I said, I love the man's music. If someone, well, his old. Let me rewind that previous statement. I like his older music. Like when he first started out, he was in a band called the Amboy Dukes for a while. Yeah, and that the Journey to the Center of the Mind is an amazing song. It really, really is.
Oh, and the performances, the footage of the performances are hysterical.
Oh yeah. But anyway, but now what were you saying about the Manson situation? Because like I said, I'm still going to buy his records. I'd go see him live if I could get the opportunity to ever sit down and buy the man a drink and talk to him. I would love the opportunity to do so.
Well,
if I could add my opinion here before Doc does.
Yeah, please.
I personally, yeah, sure, I might enjoy their music, but I probably wouldn't want to talk to them if they're being accused of, SA. But I mean, I don't know if the allegations, and there's enough evidence to hold the allegations at a weight where it's looking like they're pretty guilty, then yeah, I probably wouldn't want to talk to them.
Well, what I mean, if I was going to sit down and have a conversation with him, I would want to talk about like theology and the occult and stuff like that, because he's into a lot of the same philosophy that I am. So I'd want to, of course, talk music and stuff like that. But as far as like bringing up anything to do with I lost my train of thought. I mean, that's like I said, that's just what I would want to talk to him about. I wouldn't even bring up anything to do with what was going on, because to me, talking philosophy or music or art or whatever with someone, like a musician and stuff like that, even if it's just for a minute, that's cool. And you want to be respectful of that person and not bring up like the shit they're going through, because they're dealing with that. So
yeah,
it's better to have like a normal conversation with them. Of course, depending on the situation, and like I said, in the Manson situation, yes, if I could just sit down and like have an intellectual conversation with the man, then yes, I would sit down and talk with him, buy him a drink. So, like I said,
right.
That's just my opinion.
Okay. I kind of disagree, but you're entitled to your own opinion, so I'm going to agree to disagree because I don't really want to debate.
Well, give me. I'm not trying to start a debate, but give me your perspective.
It's just from an optics standpoint. I just don't think I could really live with myself knowing that I had spoken to somebody like the night prior or something, after they had done something so heinous, or like if there's like substantial evidence, that is, if they're kind of like it's just an allegation, there's no evidence or anything, that I'd probably feel a bit better about it. But there's so many people coming out about Marilyn Manson, and there's a lot of stuff to kind of say this shit is rather truthful, and I'd feel kind of uncomfortable talking about it. I'd feel pretty guilty, to be honest.
Well, like for me, I would I'm kind of like waiting to see where the jury like what the jury results are, because but for me, like I look at it like this. I draw a line between, someone having like a political opinion or having done time in prison for like tax evasion, or something that's kind of like okay, or they did time for something that's just not like sexual crimes related. But when you start getting into, well, actually, we probably should start calling them S crimes because of YouTube's algorithm. But when you start getting into those type of crimes, that for me is where I start drawing a line, because I'm going, man, for one, you've got the history of the entertainment industry where well, we all know what goes on behind closed doors. I mean, there have been numerous stories, plenty of jokes made. I mean, where I live,
yeah, it's a pretty open secret at this point about the disgusting stuff that happens in Hollywood and stuff.
Yeah, and where I live, you know women who have been propositioned, and you also know women who have made those compromises. And for some women, it wasn't even a compromise. It was like, okay, well, I got to go sleep with this producer. I'll go sleep with this producer. And they didn't even think twice about it. It was like, I'll do anything to get to the top. They're like, I'll sleep with whomever. And and the sad thing is, a lot of them have actually done that, but they're no closer to even getting signed than I am right now. And I'm not even trying to seek a record deal. So what does that tell you? There's just a lot of sleaze in the business. So it's kind of like you got that history of it, but you also too have the personal history of the artists. I mean, when it comes down to like some of the iffy stories, like you've got like Aziz Ansari. And I know he's not music, but like that story where the girl came out and accused him, that Joe Rogan and them, their whole comment was it seemed like it was just a night of bad sex, and the girl was trying to embarrass him for it.
Yeah.
And from my collection of that story, that kind of seems to be the case there as well. I'd have to agree with Joe Rogan's assessment. And when you look at so many women who've come forward about like, Weinstein or, even Marilyn Manson, I'm like, Kelly, man, these guys, everyone deserves their day in court in this country, and we got to see what happens there.
Yeah.
It's starting to look a lot like Marilyn Manson's guilty of something. And so for me, it just puts a big stain on the guy's record and history that I have a hard time really listening to it, going back and listening to it. And that's even with, and that's just with Marilyn Manson. But then again, too, I think about, I don't mean to dominate this conversation, but you also look at Motley Crue. Motley Crue did a lot of stuff that was way worse than what Marilyn Manson, that's either equivalent or way worse than what Marilyn Manson's being accused of. And I'm not a Motley Crue fan, so for me, there's no skin in this game on that. But it's like a lot of the stuff that people are wanting to drag Marilyn Manson through the coals. And yeah, if he's guilty of any type of things that are illegal that he could go do jail time for or prison time for, he should. But, in a lot of those cases, if you go read Motley Crue's The Dirt, they admit to a lot of stuff in there that is not cool, that is not legal. Like the some of the petty criminal stuff, like throwing refrigerators and TVs out of the window. I mean, that's
fucking havoc
all the time.
Well, I mean, they were rock stars in the '80s, and we have to.
But the
sexual
also
stuff, weigh that
too, like some of the coercion, some of the stuff that they did to the women, though. I mean, the physical abuse that they did to them. I don't like any of those guys. I don't care what anybody says. They're trash human beings, and none of them have made any improvements.
I was gonna say, yeah, I wouldn't level fucking throwing a microwave out of a window with a sexual assault allegation, but now that you've said there was some weird shit with women, now I can understand what you mean.
Yeah, I don't. And so
yeah,
so for me, it's kind of like we're going after, and there are guys who've done even far less today. than Motley Crue did in the 80s. And Motley Crue admits this stuff in the dirt. Like, seriously, if the statute of limitations had not expired on some of these cases that they mentioned in the book, all someone would have to do is go, here's their confession. It's in written form. I mean, it would be really strong evidence in a criminal case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll step into the realm of one of the higher profile ones right now.
Be right back. I'm grabbing some more coffee. Keep talking.
Alrighty.
Got you on speaker.
So what we're gonna do now, this one was one that I was not on. To be honest with you, I was not aware of this at all. I think I may have encountered it in passing, but just didn't, just really didn't pay attention to it. And what I'm referring to is the Ian Watkins case.
I don't know about that, so you'll have to fill me in.
He was the lead singer for the band Lost Prophets.
I don't think I've heard them before.
You haven't missed much. I mean, the reason that I guess that I didn't know about it or pay much attention to it is because I don't like the band.
Yeah.
If it's somebody I don't like, I'm not going to keep up with them.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, and that's not making light of the situation. And I know Doc has done some digging around, and so I'll let him give a very brief and censored synopsis of what happened, or what's going on, or what happened with that.
All right, I'm back for that one. So basically, what happened? Ian Watkins got arrested and charged with several counts of CP. And
oh my fucking god!
No, it gets worse. And doing other stuff with,
It's
yeah, and
disgusting.
He and the details. I'll put it to you this way: if I were to share just a fraction of the details, YouTube
We'd get demonetized.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't even get demonetized. YouTube's algorithm would probably give us a strike. It's that
Jesus.
bad. And so he is now doing time in prison, and
He's doing 35 years.
Oh my god!
And the band. So anytime one of their songs gets played, it makes royalties. Well, Ian Watkins is also the singer and songwriter of that, so he gets more of the money than the band does. The band still would receive money, but the band has basically said, we don't want this. They've said, take our stuff, like unpublish it, take it off. Like they have totally disavowed him, and they refuse to even play those songs live, knowing that he would receive royalties. And you got to think about it, and we're talking, when you have a number one single, just one, and it gets worldwide play, at that there's a certain level, like when you go number one on Billboard charts, you're guaranteed millions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
For a number of years afterwards, because right now we're starting to experience a pop punk revival. They should be in that revival, and the band refuses to be part of it. And so kudos to them, because those guys they have put millions.
I don't think they even play anymore.
They don't. They basically destroyed the band. But those guys, to their credit, I have to give credit to the band that they, instead of saying we're going to take millions of dollars and live off of it, they're like, we don't even want to do that. And now that they can't stop people from playing their songs, so I'm kind of hoping what they do is they wind up, because they don't want to have any of the money, I'm hoping the band takes their portion of it, pulls it together, and gives it
to like a charity,
some type of like advocacy group or charity. I mean, I think that's about the only thing they could do. But So yeah, I mean that's like one of those interesting cases. You actually have the band saying we want to go into the shadows, and it is rare that happens.
Yeah, that is quite rare.
It is, and
Dude, what was his name
honestly,
again?
Ian Watkins.
Fuck that guy.
Um,
He burns in
I
fucking
didn't know.
hell,
I
dude.
didn't know the band was from the UK. Actually,
They're from the UK as well.
yeah.
Oh mate,
Yeah.
that twat's getting odd in prison, mate. Fucking
Um,
screw that guy. We don't tolerate those types of people over here. Fuck him.
um,
Don't care what happens, that cunt.
tell us how you really feel.
I could go on and on and on. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
We could go on and on, but it's time to move on. So
Yeah, I'm leaving
um,
it there, dude.
Before we
I might
move
say
on,
some. I mean,
I
hell,
wanna
I've
say-
already said something that I'll probably regret in the future. Which, by the way, I was merely over exaggerating out of anger there. I apologize for the comment.
So here's one thing I want to say before we move on, though. If you think about it, this guy was a rock star. He was in his mid to late 20s.
yeah,
That dude could have gotten.
he had the world at his fingertips.
He could have gotten like 21-year-old Sports Illustrated, Victoria's Secret models. He could have had Playboy Playmates. He could have had like the ones that we all dreamed about having when we were 16. He could have lived that lifestyle, and he chose to go after the most vulnerable in our society.
And see, the thing we'll see what gets me is that, and first of all, I want to say that to the band itself, because I went and because I'd heard of them, and I had maybe heard a song or two like way back in the day and just don't remember it, so I went and looked them up, and it was people who had posted like lyric videos and stuff, I think. Like extract Ian Watkins from the equation. I will give credit where credit's due. The band had some talent. They were tight. They were. Not my cup of tea, but I'll give credit where credit's due. They were a good bunch of musicians, and my heart goes out to them because they can no longer do the thing that they love to do most. And that's what they wanted to do with their lives. And because of this one vile, evil, sadistic human devil, he ruined those guys' lives.
Yeah, he took multiple with him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like I said, not my cup of tea as a whole, but the band, the guys that actually were playing the instruments, yes, those guys had some talent, and honestly, I think that I hope they still, on their own play,
But
but
even Ian Watkins, you have to acknowledge. I mean, the guy knows how to write a hit song.
I can't even give him that. I can't.
Well, he knows how to write a hit song because
That's beside the point.
But I'm not praising him on that. But it's like
I know, but I'm just saying that's beside the point.
yeah.
Now, like the whole Marilyn Manson thing, that's one thing. This that we're talking about right now is just the. I mean, they're both horrendous acts, yes, but Ian Watkins is a fucking human. I mean, he's not even human. He is a sub demon, is what he is. Because I went and watched a few things about the case because I knew we were going to be talking about a little bit about it today, and the things that I heard about the case and everything like that. Oh, I was mortified. I literally, I watched maybe two little like 20-minute documentaries about it, and like I said, I was mortified like I literally felt my soul took a punch.
I
And
can't imagine how you felt because you just
Wanderer,
read
if
about
you've
that
never, if
before,
you've, if
like
okay, Wanderer, I'm gonna give you a warning. If you want to watch, if you want to like get more familiar with it, be my guest. But um, I mean, I'm not going to tell you to do it one way or the other, and I'm not encouraging you to do it. If you choose to do it on your own, I'm not even going to send it to you. But if you choose to look into this, I'm going to tell you something. Um,
I probably won't even
uh,
end up looking into it because honestly, like if it got me as angry as it did before when you said that, and I went to the length of saying what I did before, which by the way I regret. And again, I apologize to anybody who took offense to my comment. Um, but if it got me that angry about it, I don't think I want to look into it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, when what's even worse though is when you move into what happens behind the scenes in Hollywood. There is a documentary called An Open Secret that deals with that side of things. And one of the big producers Nickelodeon recently severed ties to is a guy named Dan Schneider. If
oh yeah,
I've heard of
they
him.
there's a little mini documentary about him up on YouTube.
Several,
I've watched.
yep, I've watched several documentaries on this thing with him in preparation for this. And Ariana Grande got her start on Victorious. And she never talks about it to this day. She went from Victorious. There was a spinoff series where you had Sam and Cat, where she reprised her role of I think her name was maybe Cat Valentine. Maybe I don't remember the full names, but and then Jeanette McCurdy, who also has her own problems with Dan Schneider. Jeanette refuses to even
I'll
be
be
in
right back.
the iCarly reboot. And when you start digging into what the allegations are and some of the stuff that goes on, there's like a lot of foot fetish stuff involving teen and preteen girls. And you're like, okay, that's really, really weird. Like the foot fetish thing, that's weird from the beginning for me. I don't get it. But then you're throwing teen and preteen girls into the mix. That's way worse. But then there are like all sorts of jokes that teenagers aren't stupid. Teenagers would catch the joke. And one of the things so I went back and started watching a few episodes of iCarly and Victorious. Dude,
Yeah.
there was one joke. Like some of the jokes I went back and like when I saw these, I caught them. I was like, "Oh my god, how did this? Like, how was this
How did they
allowed?"
let that fly?
Yeah, like one of them on Victorious, her professor, whose name is Psychowitz, their teacher, their drama teacher, he likes drinking milk out of coconuts. Well, and I think they put this in his character just for this joke in this one episode, and it was like the first or second episode. But she goes, yeah, I got him these coconuts, and she holds the coconuts up about chest high. She goes, do you think he'll like them? And I mean, just kind of like, oh my gosh, like just sitting there watching that unfold, I was going, there is no way that nobody caught that. And you know, it's a show that's made for at the youngest age is like 9 or 10. The oldest is probably about 15 of that target audience.
Yeah.
And you know, I was 13 and 14 years old once. I would have made those same jokes. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was something that the cast improvised. But there's a certain point where some adult, has to come in and say, "Wow, that is a funny line. We would love to put that whole exchange in there." Because we're targeting 10-year-olds, we honestly cannot put that joke in.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of inappropriate, like the cast members would have these warning signs where they would bark. That was like their call sign. They would bark whenever he would come near. Because to their credit, the male cast members, even the adults, were very protective of the girls. And the teenage boys were super protective of the teenage girls. And one girl that everybody was really protective of on Victorious was Ariana Grande. Jeanette McCurdy received the probably the most amount of abuse from him on the iCarly show. And, her mom kind of pushed her into that. But then when Jeanette's mom died, she said, with her mom dying, a lot of the ambitions for her career died as well, because her mom was really pushing her in that. So she went more behind the scenes. And so when they did the iCarly reboot on Paramount Plus, she said, "I am not reprising my role. I want nothing to do with a reboot."
Yeah.
And to this day, again, Ariana Grande will not talk about her start on that show. She will not talk about her childhood acting past. And, and Ariana Grande's got an amazing voice. I mean, because if you go back and you watch and you see this like teenage girl belt out some of these tunes, you're just like, holy crap, she's got a voice on her. And you knew right then she had the makings of being a big star. You knew if anybody was going to excel from that show, it was going to be her, just simply based on talent alone. Because it was just one of those she's one of those rare talents that truly does pop up once a generation. And it would be a crying shame if she were not involved in entertainment in any way, because that's where she's good at. But that brings me to, I say all that to get to this point, to keep on with our theme. Separating the art from the artist. Okay, so when you have something that big, like a TV show, it may be the vision of one man, but it takes a ton of people to execute it. So a producer is not the screenwriter. A producer may be like, hey, this is kind of where we want to go with this, but the writers write, the actors act. And so, it's like it's easy to kind of lump the artist in with their art when it's a solo artist like Michael Jackson or a Marilyn Manson, or any of the others, like even a Gary Glitter. But when you're dealing with someone like a producer like Dan Schneider, and knowing the history, there's Allison Stoner, who is another child actress. She has a whole video she calls the Toddler to Trainwreck Pipeline. It's something that we all know that if somebody appears on the Disney Channel, they're probably going to become a train wreck later on, with the exception of Hilary Duff. Hilary Duff turned out completely normal, despite Hollywood's efforts to not make her turn out normal. But then but it's like when you got something that requires so much of an execution, and you look at somebody like Dan Schneider, whose shows like Drake and Josh, Sam and Cat, iCarly, Victorious, they all kind of formed this universe. And for millennial children, and when I say like if you were kind of the second half of millennials, that was your childhood, that was your teen years. So I mean, but you don't think of Dan Schneider when you think of iCarly. Who do you think of? Most people are going to think of Miranda Cosgrove and Jeanette McCurdy. When they think of Victorious, you're going to think of Victoria Justice and Ariana Grande, two of the big talents from that show. So you're not thinking of the producer. The only reason why people are talking about the producer is because Nickelodeon finally just said, like, the allegations are apparently enough that Nickelodeon stepped back and said, nope, we are going to wash our hands of you and your production company.
Yeah.
So
I remember hearing about the Dan Schneider stuff a while ago. I didn't really look into it too much, but I remember enough about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Very fucking weird.
I was not honestly, I was not aware of that at all because, I mean, let's face it, Nickelodeon like went downhill a long time ago.
Well, and realistically, we are not the target audience of Nickelodeon.
I get that, but I mean, if you look at it from what they were showing to what they're showing now, I understand that like we're not the target demographic. I get that, but if you look at it from just strictly a content standpoint, it was so much better because it's become almost like a different form of Disney Channel in a way.
Yeah, when they shut down, when they moved everything out to LA and they shut down their locations, they're filming in Orlando. That was kind of what made Nickelodeon unique. Is most of those shows that we grew up with were all filmed in Orlando. Like you used to be able to go to Nickelodeon Studios and sit in the
audience.
And now you have to go all the way out to LA to see it. There's just one location.
Right. And see, I mean the content was a lot better. Like you actually had game shows. Like, I mean, I remember watching Double Dare all the time. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh yeah, that was
Nick Arcade and stuff like that. And then
Guts was my favorite.
You had shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark, which was my absolute favorite. When they would show it on Saturday nights, that was my favorite. I always enjoyed it. And I mean, and now it's just, and now, like I said, it's become like a subtle, like different form of Disney Channel in a way. Because if you look at the content from the Disney Channel, it's a little more squeaky clean, but it's pretty much the same format. And then you look at Nickelodeon, while it may be a little more goofy and off the wall, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like they're recycling ideas through each other. You know, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney hasn't tried to go after Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I think the thing is protecting Nickelodeon is because they're owned by Paramount.
Yeah.
And Disney is probably going after Paramount. Realistically, Disney wants to, because they bought out Fox. But one of the things too, though, that I will say is like, you know, realistically, like like for us, watching Nickelodeon ended like a long time ago, and if we had children, yeah, those kids would probably be watching it, and we grew up with it, so it's like, oh yeah, this is going to form those memories for them. And when they're our age now, they're going to be like, oh, it was so much better when we were kids. It's going to be pretty funny to actually see that, but it's kind of like, this. I mean, we're it's like as we age out of it, and a new generation comes along, but.
Well, let me.
The only reason why, like, I was aware of this is because, I have nieces. There are other, I have cousins. There are so many kids in my life that whenever I would go babysit them or keep them, you do get exposed to what they view. So it was always
right.
Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel. So
let me pose a question to Wanderer. Wanderer, is there anything like what we're describing? Is there something similar, like going like basically something like the same that we're describing here, but over in the UK, like a certain channel or programming or something like that?
Well, we had we have quite a few channels over here. We have like CBBC, CITV, and stuff like that. They're mainly kids channels and stuff like that. We have Cartoon Network,
which Cartoon Network has gone downhill.
Yeah, I mean, the only good things on Cartoon Network nowadays is like The Amazing World of Gumball, because that's like the best show ever.
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty's on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, Adult Swim.
What the shit? I thought Cartoon Network was like a
No,
kids.
no, Cartoon
I don't know.
Cartoon Network started Adult Swim several years back, and that's where
Oh,
they show like the more risque stuff. And it was usually like one because that's where you saw shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Metalocalypse and Moral Oral and stuff like that. And then they put out show like one thing about Cartoon Network is they've really their regular show was really pushing it
I love regular
because
show, dude.
yeah, I do too. It was really pushing it because there's a video on YouTube. I can't remember the name of it. I'd have to look it up.
They were
But
like
it's
swearing in the
basically
episode. It was like, "You piss me off."
yeah, that and there's a backstory like the whole concept and world of regular show, the Blue Jay and the Beaver and all the other weird characters is just an LSD trip. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow. No wonder I enjoy this so much. They were they had even stuff that was coming on in the afternoons was a little more not necessarily tongue in cheek, but there were, a lot of like different references to things that kids really wouldn't pick up on. But like if you're an adult and you have a functioning rational thinking brain, you could see that. But and getting back on subject, I'm gonna bring up something that hits home with me because I'm such a big fan. And that was the whole thing with Phil Anselmo a couple of years back when he did that Nazi salute on stage. While appalled by that, I watched the stories about it and everything like that, and then he actually went out on YouTube and a public platform and other places, and he very and I mean I'm a pretty good judge of character when it comes to people and listening to someone's voice and everything, and he did in fact apologize, and you could tell he felt bad about what happened, and I accepted his apology because I mean, like I said, I am a fan, but people make mistakes. And the other situations that we have mentioned, those I'm not trying to. Someone help me out here.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Well, basically, I mean, I'm not trying to say like,
Something offensive.
huh?
Are you trying to avoid sounding offensive?
Right. Like
I mean, it's like the same thing. Like, you're a fan of somebody that did something pretty fucking bad.
yeah.
They apologize for it. I mean, and an apology is the best you're gonna get. I mean, what can they really do? Go back in time, shoot themselves? Like,
right. And and like I said, I accepted his apology, and I still listen to the man's music. Like I've, huh?
I think also as well, people will probably say, people will probably say, "Oh, it's not your place to accept the apology or something." But I don't know.
Well, I mean, as a fan, I mean, because that's who he was really the world and his fans is who he was apologizing to.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't condone the act of it or the fact that he did it. I do not condone it in the slightest.
Yeah.
But that's my personal opinion about it.
Yeah.
Do I still, like I said, do I still listen to his music? Yes. I've told the story on the show a couple of times about when I got to hang out with him and meet him, and he is seriously one of the nicest and most humble people that I've ever talked to. And I will be forever in his debt for spending time with me and my brother and talking with us, because it was a tremendous honor for that to occur. Will I still go see him live? Fuck yeah. But like I said, it's my personal opinion on this on that particular situation.
Yeah.
Well, Doc, I know you have an opinion about it.
Yeah, when it comes to Phil Anselmo, I'm kind of like, I don't like the fact that he said something that was pretty bad on stage. That was like, golly, that was bad.
You have to remember, a lot of the time when that was going on is when he was on the junk real bad.
Nope, not this most recent one. This most recent one was him saying he said, I'm not going to repeat the phrase because, again, I don't want us to get flagged by YouTube. But he said a phrase and even did like a Nazi salute at the dime bag bash.
That's the situation that I was talking about.
Yeah, and so he wasn't on really anything, and his excuse was, if he were just to have said, you know what, I slipped up. I thought I'd gotten that out of me. I got drunk. I said something really stupid. I'll make sure it never happens again. If he had just owned up to it, it wouldn't have been.
He did own up to it.
After he made an excuse, though, people had to push him. They had to, because he made.
No, when I saw that, it did not seem forced.
No, he.
Well, I mean, it's all up to
his initial
the public opinion anyway. Like, look, everybody's gonna have their opinion on it. If you accept his apology, by all means, you're allowed to do that. But somebody else might have a differing opinion.
Well, right. I completely agree.
His initial response though was, "Oh, we were drinking white wine backstage, and it was a joke I was making." And Rob Flynn said, "Dude, I was backstage. There was no white wine." So it wasn't on.
Are you talking about the guy from Machine Head?
Yeah, I think that's the band he's in.
Yeah, I think that is him too. I really don't have anything for that guy. I really don't. I've never been a fan of his music.
Yeah, he's in Machine Head.
But anyway, well, and it's like Wanderer says. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. We're certainly not arguing the matter. We're just, we have healthy discussion on this show, and we know when to back off. And Doc knows that I respect his opinion. Shit, as long as he and I have known each other, we have not always agreed on everything, but we respect the other's opinion. Is that not true?
Oh, 100%.
And here's my thing, and we're gonna wrap the topic up for the week. But good talk though. Good talk though. This is something that we're gonna start trying to do on a regular basis. Is actually do like discussion topics and things like that. We'll still have shows and stuff where we just kind of goof off and everything like that. And if you can hear it, it's raining here right now, and it's absolutely glorious. Because the last few days have been fucking hot, and I hate it. But I'm gonna say this, and we'll let everyone make their closing remark on it. But certain situations are certainly worse than others. Can we not agree on that?
I'd agree. Yeah.
Okay. Which was the point I was trying to make earlier. That's basically what I was trying to say, and I just couldn't figure out how to say it until just now. The fact that there are people in this world who have an ability to make something from them, music, obviously, and then there are those who have the ability to act and entertain people. The simple fact that horrendous people like this have that kind of talent makes me sick. And they're willing to throw it all away to think that they won't get caught doing something so fucking reprehensible. Now, like I said, there are some situations that are worse than others. And we did cover a lot of the most, morally reprehensible, just, horrific things, which Gary Glitter was not someone we touched on, but we can, if we want to, we can go back and we can do a part 2 about this and dig into a few others.
I think a part 2 is definitely necessary.
But the fact that they're willing to throw it all away, just it boggles my mind. It really does. I'm like, and the fact, and I've said this before, the fact that there are sick fucks like that on the planet, regardless of who they are, just that's one of the big reasons why I've lost so much faith in humanity, is the sheer existence of people like that.
It is disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, we witnessed a horrific act with the whole Shani and Rev thing. But the fact that there are people that take it even further and they're willing to throw everything away for it. What the fuck is wrong with people, man? Seriously.
Wait, the Shani situation, are you talking about the beat your ass comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck them for that, man.
We're not going to get off on that.
It's a story for another day, I suppose. We've
exactly.
already talked about it as well.
Right, that's a different story for a different time. But I'm going to tell you this.
Am I getting a Discord call? What the fuck? Dude.
I don't give a fuck who you are. If you do anything to that effect, as far as to hurt some the most vulnerable of human beings, fuck you. Seriously, that's just how I fuck you.
Burn in hell.
You. The fact that I can't. I'm done.
All right.
I'm done.
It is fucking disgusting though. Like, some people in this world are really fucked, and while we would like to see a lot of them,
and yes, you just heard me light. Yes, you just heard me light a cigarette.
While we would like to see a lot of them burn, the best course of option is to get them the help they need, because a lot of these people are genuinely sick in the head, and to get them help is not only doing a good deed, but it's saving people.
Lock them away.
Yeah.
Lock them away.
Yeah, lock them away, absolutely. But as long as they're getting, help in there to try and turn them around.
Separate them completely from society in any shape, form, or fashion.
Then also get them help, because we can't just separate them from society and tell them, oh, hey, this is wrong. We need to get them help while they're separated from society, because we can't let them live their lives.
Okay. All right, look, I'll give you that. but never let them out. Never let them out. No. No. Can't be done. I'm not trying to start an argument, Wanderer. You know that. You
I'm
know I
not
love you.
arguing with you. I'm just saying, dude.
I know. I'm just saying no. No. Do not let them back into society whatsoever. If you harm a child in any shape, form, or fashion, you deserve to be sent away for the rest of your life.
I agree.
You should not get to walk free in society whatsoever ever again. You had your shot and you fucked it up on a more just an absolute morbid level, beyond morbid. You don't get your freedom back. Sorry, not sorry. Fuck you.
Well, that was quite an explosive episode.
Doc,
Yeah, definitely was.
your we didn't hear your final thoughts.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, put them under the prison for all I care. I really, there are, yes, we do forgive, but forgiveness does not necessarily mean everything goes back to being normal.
Oh, absolutely. That's not what I'm saying.
And so what I would do, so if someone's like, oh, I'm sorry I did such and such, and especially involves little kids, I'm like, yeah, we forgive you, but you're staying locked up.
That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say forgive these people. No, fuck that. Don't forgive them. Get them, the mental help that they fucking need, because obviously they're sick in the fucking head. We're gonna have people thinking like that in society, and then remove them from society in general. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can tell you from personal experience that they don't get better. They only get smarter. So once you cross that threshold and you start hurting kids like that, there is no coming back from that.
Once you step over that line, you can't. There's no turning back from that.
And
you have literally put your foot on the darkest path in.
Yeah, you still there? Wonder
He cut out.
he cut out. Yeah. Well, like I said, I can tell you from personal. I can tell you from personal experience, from knowing families who have been affected by that, where like a father goes off and does some horrible things.
Yeah.
They never get better. They never even try to get better. And they just, they've gone into something that's more akin to antisocial personality disorder than anything else. And so
yeah,
there is no way for them to improve.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that's actually what they do. Like police and shit. They had a thing for a while where, because I was watching a documentary on something like this, and obviously you shouldn't believe everything you see on documentaries, but it just gave me a bit of insight. And basically, this documentary said that they actually for a long time made, that help that I was talking about. They made that they made that basically an optional thing, and it was like the most unpopular thing, so they had to make it compulsory, at least over in the UK, which I'm very fucking happy about. These people need to learn about what they've done, and if they don't take it, then just keep them fucking locked up, and still keep them locked up if they've learned about it, Because these people don't fucking deserve life, let alone, But they do deserve know why what they did was wrong, because a lot of them don't seem to get it through their thick fucking skulls.
Yeah,
and they need to know why they're locked up, so that they don't develop. It keeps them kicked down from a victim mentality, I suppose. It reminds them that they are no longer a person, but a fucking disgusting monster. Really, it's like, this is what you've done. Now you're going to pay for your crime.
Well, the unfortunate thing is once they have crossed that threshold into either harming a kid or viewing CP, once that the point in getting the point where you get them to help is before they cross that threshold. Once that threshold has been crossed, there is no more help.
Yeah, there's no coming back. I see your point there.
Yeah, and so the unfortunate problem is there are a lot of people who there have been cases where people are like, hey, I have this.
Hey, I'm here.
You're back.
Yeah, my internet went down.
Oh, man.
The power must have flashed or something. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Yeah. So what happens in a lot of these cases is there have been people who have actually told, like they want, what they do is they're like, because there are Reddit forums you can find where people have admitted that they have these. They'll say things like, I am oriented this way, I'm attracted, how do I get help, how do I get fixed? The problem is they feel a lot of shame going to a therapist. When they go to the therapist, they say, hey, I got this problem, how can I fix it? So they're afraid they're going to get reported and wind up on a registry somewhere. And it's like, no, you're not going to wind up on a registry if you have not committed a crime. If you've not done anything to anyone, you're fine. You're not legally in trouble, and you can still get help. But the other issue is a lot of times the state won't pay for people to get help until they've actually committed a crime. So it's kind of this really weird thing that if they really wanted to fix the issue, they would fix the issue when the person is alerting people saying, I need help. That's when we should get them to help.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that.
All right. So I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I guess the power flashed or something and my internet went down. So I do apologize.
Dealing with the storm right now. So.
Well, all right. Well, Wanderer, we're gonna move on to you. We're gonna lighten the mood now. Now, I know I sent you 2 interesting records this week, both of which I was really, really excited for you to listen to. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give you your time to kind of lighten the mood for us today.
Alrighty. So, if you are unaware, last week I was set the task of listening to 2 albums. Let me just grab a drink. And 2 albums from 2 separate artists, and they're both actually self-titled, which is kind of funny. The first one is Clutch by Clutch, which released in 1995. So let's get into it, I suppose. So it starts off with kind of like a 2-parter, if you will. The songs is split into 2. So we have Big News Part 1 and Big News Part 2. So it must be news so big that they had to split it into a 2-parter. I love the bass on this song. The drums were pretty chill as well. I was less of a fan of the vocals, and they sounded like a less good System of a Down, in my opinion. But I did like them at the chorus, so that was a plus. As the verses are pretty mediocre, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. The rest of the Part 1 of Big News, though, is pretty good. Big News Part 2. If Big News Part 1 was so good, why isn't there a Big News 2? Joke's on you, bucko, there is. My thoughts starts off more lively with some lovely bass and guitar, really neat drums. Vocals were a lot better on Part 2, in my opinion, as well as just a much nicer song compared to the first part, in my opinion. It is rare that the sequel is better than the original, and Star Wars is proof of that, but Big News 1 and 2 proves to be the case. So then we get onto Rock and Roll Outlaw, which is the 3rd track, or the 2nd if you want to be technical, of the entire album. The bass was very weird on this one. I wasn't quite sure what to think of it, at least in the start and in some other parts as I listened. And it was some sort of weird processing effect. It was quite cool. Rambly vocals that I really didn't like, not gonna lie. It wasn't total garbage, but it was an okay song. Just wasn't my cup of tea. Then we have Texan Book of the Dead. Great riff and instrumentation. The vocals were at least a little bit more tolerable in the last track. Escape from Prison Planet. I like that title. I really like the bass, the guitar, the drums, almost everything about the track's instrumentation in that aspect. I thought it was all really nice and quite beautiful. Um, I even like the vocals on this one a little bit as well, so that's always a plus. I thought Escape from Prison Planet was definitely one of my favorite tracks. Then we have Space Grass. It sounds like an intergalactic northeastern slang for marijuana, but in space. It's quite calm and smooth, only bass and vocals for most of the song, which was a touch that I quite liked, actually. This album is like stoner rock in space, and I liked it. Moving on to I Have the Body of John Wilkes Booth. I wasn't quite sure on that song. I really couldn't make my mind up if I liked it or not. Then we have Tight Like That, which the title is probably the biggest That's What She Said type of situation I've ever seen in a song before. But I digress. I love the riff and the vocals. Animal Farm, the vocals made me laugh. Like one of the lines says, "Listen up, you stinking maggots." I thought that was really funny. And I thought the guitar and the drums were also pretty killer on this track. So Animal Farm's cool.
I was actually listening to that before I sent the link out. Like I listened to it like 2 or 3 times. I love the whole record, but that one is one of my favorites.
Oh, it's a great track. I'll agree there.
Because I mean, honestly, that first verse, it's something you really want to say to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love the line. You would cry, you would scream if you knew half the things I've seen. That one gets me every time.
Give me 2 seconds.
You are not okay. You know what? Oh, by the way, you missed it. Do you know what was in Doc's hat this week?
It was my time thingy.
Oh, you sneaky bastard! You were listening.
Yeah, I was watching the show on my phone when I went downstairs from my McDonald's.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so the next track is called Droid, which is definitely like a space stoner rock in space and only in space if it wasn't beforehand. This is like the most stoner rock in space and only in space that it'll get.
You're talking about Dodge Swing 19. Yeah, that. I think that was it.
I'm absolutely loving the intergalactic vibe to this entire album. It's something I've only ever felt I've only ever felt like a very faint similarity on Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. Though I feel like the actual substance of the two albums side by side are obviously quite different. I digress. I thought Droid was a pretty dope track. The House That Peter Built, wasn't really too fussed about that one. 7 Jam, I absolutely love the opening drums, followed by the absolutely gorgeous bass. The guitar creeps in after a while, and I thought that was a pretty nice touch. Really nice track overall. Really nice.
What did you think of the what? Okay, I have to know. What did you think of the vocals and the lyrics?
What, on a 7 Jam?
Yeah.
I thought the vocals and the lyrics were all right. They definitely weren't like obviously the vocals aren't, as you can probably tell by now, they aren't my favorite thing about Clutch. But yeah, I thought they were pretty cool.
I love the lyrics to the song. Like just the way it starts out, where they're all just shouting everything going to be all right.
Yeah.
That's probably my number one favorite on that whole record. I mean, like I said, love the whole thing start to finish, but that's got to be my number one.
Yeah. Then we have the final track, which is Tim Salt vs. The Grays. If there's one thing I really like about this album, is how well some of the songs blend together. Big News 1 and 2 are really well crafted in the way that they are able to create continuity without interruption between each other. So like when one song ends, the other starts, but you don't notice it. So if you're looking at the track list, then you'll probably pick up on it. But if you aren't looking at it, then you may think that some of the tracks are sometimes longer than they actually are. And that's something I really like. I really like albums that have that kind of fluid continuity to them. It's a really nice touch, and that's also something that happens extremely well between 7 Jam and Tim Salt vs. The Grays, which I really happen to like as a song. I don't really have much else to add in that aspect, but I thought it was a pretty dope way to end off the album. So my overall thoughts on Clutch by Clutch, which I love saying it by that, like that. Uh, Overall, this was a lot to take in from a stylistic point of view, in my opinion. The rambling vocals was something I wasn't necessarily a big fan of in this album, but it is balanced out with some good instrumentation and just how fluid some of these tracks are and how well they fit together structurally. It's absolutely flawless in its structure, and that's something I'd always appreciate. So overall, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
All right. Well, I fig. Okay, which ones did you save off the record?
Let me check. Big News 2, Escape from Prison Planet, Space
Dude, you can't do Big News without both of them.
Nah, dude, I didn't like the first part too much. I like Big News 2 a lot more. And then I saved Escape from Prison Planet, Space Grass, Animal Farm, Droid, and 7 Jam. They were the ones I saved.
I had a feeling you'd save Animal Farm.
Animal Farm was funny.
It's a fun song. It really, really is. And I like the fact that it just starts out like, just that old school stick tap count off, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's, I really like how it begins, and then they just jump right into it.
Yeah, I'd agree though. It's kind of cool.
All right. Well, now this next one is a personal favorite of not only mine but my brother's. Me and him. The story behind this record for me, just real quick, is I had it. Somebody gave me a copy of it, and I'd never listened to it. And me and him were hanging out one day, and he's like, "Have you listened to this Clearlight record yet?" And I said, "No." And we put it on. And now, remember, one of the guitar players in this band is Jimmy Bower from Down and I Hate God.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's one of the guitar players. This is a band he put together.
Oh, nice.
And so, yeah, he's one of the guitar players in this band. He's an amazing guitar player. If you, I'll have to send you. He plays guitar, well, obviously in I Hate God, and he plays guitar in Super Joint Ritual. So we put this record on, and it blew us both away. So he and I fell in love with this band, and there's a split album I'm going to have to send you. It's a split between Clearlight and a band called Acid King. It's really, really amazing. So let's hear Clearlight.
So this album, song-wise, is a lot shorter than the last one. There's only around 5 or 6 tracks, but the tracks are longer in length. I don't really have much to say on each one, but I feel like I've summed up my thoughts pretty well in what I've written. Starting off with Swamp Jam, which is the first track, honestly, it really didn't grasp me very well in the beginning. I found myself not really enjoying it as much as I'd hoped. One thing I did pick up on is the use of that kind of, I guess you could say it's like a keyboard or like an accordion kind of.
The organ.
Organ, that's it. I like the organ. That was quite a nice touch and quite a unique touch that I quite liked, and it's something that happens throughout the throughout the album as well, which is something I appreciate. The guitar was great, and the drums were pretty good as well. But I feel like it was the pacing that kind of put me off. Moving on to Electrode, I'm very happy to report that I like this track a lot more than the first. Really, really nice guitar and bass. The drums were probably my favorite part of the entire thing. The drums were actually really nice. I thought it was an awesome track. I don't really have much else to say, but Electrode's up there. I think Electrode might actually be my favorite one. Then we have Ride Out. I wasn't really a fan in the beginning, but as the track went on, it got better and better. Trapeze, I thought it was a pretty dope track overall. I don't really have any complaints or anything. I could pretty much say the same thing about all of the things that I've spoke about previously. You know, you got the organ, you've got the guitar, the bass, the drums. It's obviously, like, from what I could tell, there was no vocals whatsoever. It was purely instrumentation.
Now, side note, real quick, there are like some later recordings from Clearlight they were like split albums or EPs or something like that. That I think a couple of them have a vocalist on them. I'll have to dig them up and I'll send you one.
All right. That's actually kind of cool because I'd like to hear some vocals. Fool's Outfit is the next one. I kind of lost where I was there. I wasn't really a big fan of this one. The pace was just kind of out of my league a little bit, out of my tastes. El Nino Brown is the how this album ends off, and I thought it was a really awesome way to end off. Probably my favorite track of the whole thing, even besting Electrode, though I don't have much else to say on it. So overall, this album was pretty cool. I don't know if I love it, but I like it, and that's for sure. Hearing some of the vocals on it would have been pretty cool though, and I can always respect an instrumental only record, but some vocals would really be quite nice. A very unique style that I didn't really recognize from elsewhere, which was real. It was quite a treat to have that happen because it made it feel a lot more fresh and refreshing to listen to. So I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Well, see, that's some of that stuff that's straight out of New Orleans. Because, like I said, remember Jimmy Bowers in the band, and I Hate God and Down and Super Joint and all that stuff. That's all from New Orleans. So, but yeah, this was a band that he put together, and I figured it was time to send it to you, since I'd sent you like the Heavy Trip record and stuff like that. So I've gone ahead and sent you your next two. Now, next week's going to be interesting because these are two completely different ends of the musical spectrum.
Alrighty. Let me see.
Doc, are you around?
Yep.
All right, I think you're gonna appreciate the first one.
We have a song by The Nuge.
No, it's not a song. It's the album.
Album. I had a brain fart. Ted Nugent, Free for All, full album.
Okay. Awesome.
And then the second one is Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables by the Dead Kennedys. I think I've actually heard a couple songs of that before while I was looking for a Dead Kennedys record. Yeah, I'm excited to listen to that because I've heard good things.
I'm a huge Dead Kennedys fan. That's one of my all-time favorite records. It's definitely, if you do enjoy it, Wanderer, I'm going to tell you this is going to be one of those that you could like listen to from start to finish because every song on the album is great.
Yeah.
And plus Jello Biafra is just fucking awesome. So, well, all right. So, okay, I guess we'll go ahead and we'll put this news out there because I know it will make Wanderer happy. As all of you know, he loves to bust my balls because I had never played Fallout. And so yesterday I went to visit my mother and she had some movies and stuff she was wanting to get rid of, and she just gave them to me, and I took them to one of the used video game store I go to, and they bought them, got some store credit, and of course I bought some Magic cards while I was there. But it hit me just out of nowhere that if there was enough, I could buy a game. And I kept remembering Fallout New Vegas in the back of my mind. And so yesterday I bought Fallout New Vegas.
And I'm very fucking proud. Like, you don't know how proud I am. Dude.
I need to actually go buy that myself. I mean, I've played it. What are you playing it on?
PS3.
Okay.
I was there mostly for Magic cards, and they in this store, and I love going to it. The one of the guys that works there, he knows me when I come in, and I wish they had a table to where I could put these, like a binder and a massive card box down on a table so I could sit and look through all of them. But yes, I finally bought the damn game. So, um, and the credit was just enough for me to get the cards and the game too. So, go me.
That's awesome. I'm very happy with that. From what you told me, you haven't really like started much of it yet. You've like built your character. You're still in good springs. So you'll have to
Yeah,
tell me how it goes. We could do
I'm.
like daily or like weekly Fallout updates on the show.
Oh God. Well, and okay, and now remember I told you that I had gotten that 360 from the my neighbor up here.
Yeah.
Well, I finally got it working, where I could like get the disc tray to open and everything like that.
Oh, awesome.
And a friend of mine had given me a controller. The controller doesn't work.
Oh shit.
So I still have not got to play that. I think I'm just gonna have to like break down and I have to find a power cord for the black 360. Um, and if it doesn't work right, then I'm screwed because I bought a couple of games for them like months ago, and like both of them were like total was like $4, I think,
Yeah.
and I still haven't got to use these things. So, my girlfriend was talking about getting me a PS4 for my birthday, and I'm like, well, and I mean, because I want to get caught up on the Assassin's Creed games. Um, but anyway, yeah, I would love to play some fucking Xbox, man. I mean,
Yeah, you want some like Halo 3 and stuff.
no, no, no. Honestly, I wish that I could play the original Halo on a newer system. That would make me extremely happy.
You can.
Yeah, well, with Steam you could, but one of the things I would be careful about using Steam is that there was some malware that was found embedded in the source code.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fucked.
Yes.
That's probably why your computer was being a bitch earlier.
No, I think I don't
Either
know why I was
that or
doing that. It
either,
was just being a
either,
bit weird with the startup.
either that or it's all that porn you've got.
Fuck you. No, it's probably the amount of games I've got on my ass show.
Wanderer, you don't have to make excuses, brother.
Speaking of which, dude, Jedi Fallen Order, which is like an amazing Star Wars game, is on a Game Pass, so I'm gonna get that. I'm installing that right now.
Yeah, I wish they would like with some of the TV shows and movies they're doing for Star Wars. I really wish. I mean, they have messed up. Disney has messed up the original storyline with their atrocious sequels. I mean, I don't think anybody could have made. I didn't think it was possible to make people appreciate the prequels until these sequels came out.
Oh, I've always appreciated the prequels because I grew up with that. So like, I've always been one of those guys. Like, I've always liked it.
Yeah. Well, apparently George Lucas's idea was to have Darth Maul as the big bad in 789, which would have been really awesome and tied the whole Skywalker saga together.
That would have been pretty cool. Though, yeah, obviously Darth Maul's dead by that point. Like,
well, yeah, Darth Maul was supposed to basically be the Palpatine in the new trilogy, and have have Kylo Ren as his apprentice.
Yeah,
and that was much cooler.
Have you guys seen the? I know Widow's probably hasn't, but Doc, have you seen the Clone Wars?
I love
TV show?
the Clone Wars. That's a great.
Oh, have you seen the full thing?
Yes.
So you know about Maul then?
Yes.
That was fucking amazing. I loved that as a kid. Like, I remember one time me and my friend we were chilling, and then the ad came on TV. I was like, "What the fuck, dude? Darth Maul's still alive?" It was so epic.
Yeah, yeah. And for those who haven't watched Rebels, you might want to mute for the next 30 seconds, but because I'm about to reveal a big spoiler. But
don't ruin it for people. That's
all right.
a dick move.
Have you seen
Star Wars Rebels, Wanderer?
I have, and I know which part you're about to talk about.
Okay, so you know what I'm
That was
talking.
fucking good.
You know what I'm talking about, and I was like, they had their chance to really have him. I don't see why Disney would not want to bring him into the movies, but they were determined not to.
They actually did for a brief cameo, but that's all we got.
No, well, no, it was just. It's not even. I was talking about the trilogies.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, where like that, like having him appear in 7, 8, 9 is the big bad. Like having where you got Kylo Ren, who's because I thought it'd been really cool to have this contrast in Episode 7. Like, who is Luke Skywalker? They're finding him, and Luke has retreated to an ancient Jedi temple to learn more of the ancient secrets. And then you would have like this storyline where Darth Maul had kind of done the same thing with the dark side, and had started emerging out of that. And Luke is like, crap, I got to figure this out now. And then it's like, oh, okay. So then you would have like two completely opposing forces there, no pun intended, between the embodiment of Luke Skywalker and Darth Maul. And the biggest connection between them in that current storyline would have been Kylo Ren. And
Yeah.
To me, like that whole thing would have tied everything together.
I think I don't know if I think I would like it if it was maybe a relative to Maul or like another Zabrak Sith Lord, because by the time of the sequels, so like say if it takes place in the current sequels timeline, which is 30 years on from the Galactic Civil War, in other words, it's 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Maul would be very fucking old, and depending on how his species age, yeah, he'd probably be long dead by that point.
See, the easy workaround is have them live twice as long as humans.
Yeah, I don't know how Zabrak's age in Star Wars, but I'm gonna have to look that up. But
I'm looking it up now.
In the Phantom Menace, I want to say Maul was probably in his like 20s or something, and then there's like a 10-year gap between Episode 1 and Episode 2, and then the Clone Wars, and then obviously the Clone Wars is around 4 or 5 years long, I think.
All right. So according to the Star Wars trivia, Zabraks lived to be 180 years old.
Holy shit! Yeah, that would work perfect then. It really would.
You guys have lost me.
I mean, Yoda lived to like 900.
Yeah.
Oh, another cool touch. Since we're talking about things that never really happened with the sequels, there was concept for Episode 9, and it was going to be called Duel of the Fates. I think that's really cool. Yeah, original concept for Episode 9 of Star Wars was going to be called Duel of the Fates, and it was going to have all these different really awesome connections. Kylo Ren was literally going to have the mask of Darth Revan, and that is the coolest fucking touch I've ever seen. Cause I've recently played through Knights of the Old Republic, and I know Sterno is right now, and Darth Revan is one of the most influential Sith Lords in Star Wars history.
And they recently made him canon.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, dude. I fucking love Revan, and if that ever happened, that would be so dope. They were actually gonna keep Captain Phasma alive, and they were gonna go back to Coruscant from the prequels, and there was gonna be like an assassination, like a public execution, I guess you could say, of a high-ranking Resistance fighter, and then there was going to be the Eye of the Webbish Bog, which was a Force-sensitive Sith creature, obviously like Darkseid, that actually made connections with Darth Vader in the comics, which was very, very cool to see. And there was going to be some really awesome stuff as well, linking to Luke and things like that. I think this was even predating The Last Jedi, so I think honestly, if I was going to do anything with the sequels, I would make it so that, you know, people are looking for Luke, but Luke's in the shadows trying to learn how to become more powerful with the Force, whilst also obviously maintaining his strength against the dark side. And he's training in secret to kind of face off against this new power, which is, you know, the First Order. And he's going to return. He trains Rey, and then, you know, he goes up in space over crates and, like, boards the capital ship at the First Order and just fucking, you know, Mandalorian stuff fucking lays waste to everything. That'd be so fucking cool. I would have loved that movie a lot more if they did that instead of having Luke Skywalker be this like fucking coward. Because Luke Skywalker ain't a coward, dude.
Yeah.
He doesn't run away. Like, no matter if like Order 66 Part 2 happened in the story, Luke Skywalker doesn't run away.
Well, and J.J. Abrams, what he really wanted was Luke not abandoning his connection to the Force. He wanted Luke going back to that ancient temple, trying to find out the most ancient secrets of the Jedi. And that's why he was on Ahch-To. And but what happened is Mark Hamill saw the script for Episode 8 for the Last Jedi, and he walked up to Abrams and said, "Hey, you might want to change your ending." Because at the end, if you know anything from the Star Wars Extended Universe, there are 6 huge boulders that weigh like tons each. And Luke had them all levitating on Ahch-To. And so when Rey and everybody comes in, Luke is standing there meditating and levitating these stones. So J.J. Abrams did not envision that Luke was going to abandon his connection to the Force. And then Rian Johnson was like, I'm going to do my own thing. I don't give a shit what you're going to do. And then so he is the one who had Luke severing his connection to the Force. And then Colin Trevorrow was like, he told Kathleen Kennedy, I need you to keep Luke Skywalker alive. I need him for my movie. And that's when they fired Colin Trevorrow because he would not adjust his movie. He was like, no, my movie's in line with what Abrams wants to do. And they stuck with Rian Johnson over Trevorrow, which is really stupid on their part. Because like that whole scene from Canto Bight, that served really no purpose. And it was like, okay, we got to put Benicio del Toro in the movie somewhere. I have an idea. We'll have a pointless 20-minute segment, and that's where we'll introduce him.
Yeah, the whole Last Jedi was a fucking mess. I don't know how people like that.
And The Last Jedi, and you know, and I have to look at it this way. I'm looking at the last movie that they did where they were really looking for a big bad. They're like, oh crap, what do we do? Oh wait, we'll just resurrect Palpatine. And
that fucking sucked.
Because the Sith were supposed to be destroyed. And it's like, okay.
Like the thing is as well, Kylo Ren has never been a true villain to me. He's always been like, you know, this like fucking edgy teen. So like if Kylo Ren kind of, I don't know, accelerated his power, kind of did more research on the Sith and became a more knowledgeable, more powerful Sith Lord and donned the mask of Revan, I think that would be very, very fucking cool. But even then, Revan's mask, it means quite a different thing compared to, you know, the Sith and stuff. But I mean, I suppose he wore that when he was a Sith Lord, so meanings can change. If you're interested, without spoiling anything for Cerno or anybody watching that hasn't played KOTOR, that mask is of Mandalorian design, ancient Mandalorian design. It was worn by a Mandalorian warrior who stood up to Cassius Fett, who was basically raining fire upon this world and killing innocent civilians who were, you know, unworthy and not able to fight, so it would be dishonorable in the eyes of the Mandalorian code. And she tried to stand up to Cassius Fett and Canderous Ordo as well, and she got shot. She got killed. And basically, Revan, through the Force, detected that when he was there trying to figure out what happened and figure out what the Mandalorians' next moves were so he could crush them. And he detected that through touching that mask through the Force. And then he was like, I'm inspired by this Mandalorian woman's story. I'm going to wear this mask now, and I'm going to don the mask, don the name Revan, which I believe was an anagram for the Mandalorian's name. And from there, he ditched his birth name and became just Revan. And that's when, you know, the whole Sith Lord thing happens. And then, yeah. It's a really, really nice story. Like, honestly, the KOTOR games are better written than the sequels could ever wish to be. I'd say it's even better written than some of the things like, you know, The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch, The Clone Wars. It's such a good Star Wars story. And the fact it's not canon anymore and only Revan is canon out of that story, it really makes me sad. I suppose to an extent you could argue that Darth Malak is kind of canon because, you know, the connection between... You can't have Revan without Malak, you know?
Yeah.
So I suppose, yeah, to an extent, Malik is canon, but the fact they had to make that entire story Legends really pisses me off. Because Knights of the Old Republic is a fucking beautiful game. I love that so much.
Oh yeah, man, it's such a great series.
There's only 2 of them as well.
Well, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it up for the week. Wanderer, how comes the project?
Well, I'm going to hopefully contact Avon next week, and we are going to do some makeup tests, and then we're going to get finishing the live action scene, and then we should be fine.
Well, all right. Well, we're your last couple of videos I need to get caught up on.
Probably going to be doing some more streaming soon as well.
Are you going to be streaming later this evening, or?
Probably not a night. I think I've got plans tonight with a couple of mates, but apparently that was next week, and I've just read it wrong. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to see. I probably won't stream tonight, but I might tomorrow. Who knows? I'm thinking of actually streaming Terraria with my good friend Malware. So.
Oh, right on, right on. Doc, you got anything you want to say before we close out?
I'm good. I'm about to just go do some more exercise and working on my weight loss.
I think before we wrap up as well, I'd like to add that today we obviously kind of talked about like quite a few heavy topics, and like we all said some things that might be construed a certain way, and I want to reiterate that we mean no harm by anything we've said today, and this is all kind of trying to argue why we should separate art from the artist sometimes, and why it's healthy to do that, so we don't have to alienate people for having a certain taste, but also condemning those who have committed heinous actions like some of the people we've mentioned. So if we've said anything that has potentially made you feel uncomfortable or like offended you today, we are deeply sorry, and that is not the context that we intended to use to offend you. And I hope you understand. And it was a little bit of a heavy topic today, so I hope everybody was cool with that.
Well said, sir. Well said. Well, all right, guys. We are going to go ahead and we are going to close and lock the doors for this week. We will be back next week, next Saturday. Same time, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK time. If you haven't already, go ahead and like the stream, share the stream. It really helps us out. Thank you so much for everyone's support. Thank you to everyone who stopped in the chat today. Also, real quick before we close, I'd like to wish a very, very happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I guess to myself, since I do have four-legged children with tails, and they're both spoiled rotten. So
cat girls.
Do what?
Cat girls on the internet. They're my daughters.
But indeed, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and I hope you all enjoy your special day. But we will see you next Saturday, everyone. Once again, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK time, and we will be back then. So we will see you next Saturday. But until then, as always, my friends, peace be with you.